The 29th of April of 2013. It is the taxi vlog 253, and I'm really glad that the reverse gear doesn't go beep beep beep. I'm still very happy about this car. Let me tell you about my week. Monday night was phenomenal. Monday night was the kind of Monday night where I would get a call in the part of town where I was, which is near the Walmart, and that would take me out to Gordon Head near the university, and then I'd get another call right away as soon as I dropped that off, and they went downtown. And then there was a Motley Crue concert at what the hell is that? I don't care. Oh, I don't like beeping things. Let's turn that off. Let's fix. I forgot to do the configuration before we got started, so please bear with me. I hate things that go beep. Okay, we're almost. Oh, 5 messages. Why do they put 5 messages on there? I like no messages. There, that's good. Exit. Okay. Now I won't be interrupted by funny beeping things again. I hope. So yeah, so I'd get another call, and then as soon as I dropped those kids off downtown, I would turn the corner, and there in front of the arena where the Motley Crue concert was going on, somebody would wave at me, and it was a guy and his girlfriend who was looking kind of sickly, so I guess she ate or drank something that didn't agree with her, and they went out to the Western Communities, out to Langford. And then on my way back from Langford, I'd be passing by the casino, and then I got somebody from the casino who was going into the part of town where I started at the beginning. So there I was with about $70 or $80 more, just like that. So that worked out really, really well. That night, I haven't seen a Monday like that in a long time. It was just phenomenal. Tuesday, you know, wasn't quite that good, but for a Tuesday I still brought home about $100, which is good. So my week was off to a nice start. I had enough to pay for some prescriptions I had to get, which I needed to get. I also had enough money to pay for something else. I forget what it was, some $50 thing, whatever. I had enough to pay for that. And then Wednesday I had to go to the dentist. Now, at the beginning of my shift, so I lost about the first 2 hours of my shift going to the dentist. I had my teeth cleaned. I had root planing or scaling or whatever they call it, and I had yeah, see that? I had a tooth pulled because it was loose. A couple of years ago I bit into a nut and it loosened the tooth, and it was pointing out that way rather than straight down, and it was getting to the point where it was really loose, and every time I'd bite onto something it would hurt. So I had it pulled, and now I have relief from that. So I don't have any teeth that are really loose anymore, which is good. And then the Wednesday turned out, you know, pretty good. What? Oh, that is a crosswalk. You can barely see the fucking things with the sun shining right in your eyes. Okay. So yeah, and no trouble from anybody. It was really good. Thursday I came out, and it was going okay for a Thursday. I can't really complain about the way Thursday was going. And then at one point, I think around 2 in the morning, or was it 3, I got a call to an apartment building not too far from where I usually work. And I can't see what this thing's doing. Let's book a zone for argument's sake. Okay. I got this guy who's really impatient. He's standing out in the street instead of inside the lobby of the apartment building like people usually do, or usually, most often, they're still up in their apartment. And the guy got in, he says, take me downtown, I want to go downtown, and can you take me back for $50? I'll give you a good tip. Okay, fine, go downtown. He says, he gives me a street corner to go to, and I go straight to that street corner, and we're at the street corner, and there's nothing happening, we're just sitting there, and he says, can I use your phone for a moment? Sure, buddy. Here, go ahead. He says, I'll give you a big tip for using the phone. Okay, sure, pal. So he phones somebody who doesn't answer, and the second time he phones someone who doesn't answer, and it turns out that he didn't get an answer. So then he asked me to go to another street corner, and so I took him to that other street corner, and when we got there, he gives me a crisp plastic $100 bill and says, give me 20 for change. Now, he gave me $80 to use my phone, which was free anyway, and there was $15 on the meter, so I had like a $65 tip, and that is what made a good Thursday night phenomenal. It was a wonderful night, just because of that $65 tip. It made a difference. Big stinking difference. So then I had enough money already after that to pay my chiropractor, which was wonderful. And then I came out on Friday. Friday, as far as Fridays go, was a disappointment. It was nothing special. I grossed about $330 with a $130 lease, and then you gotta buy fuel. You're not really making that much, but what I made was enough just to put a little more money in the bank to cover all my expenses for the month, to finish paying for the rent, and to pay my tax for the month, because we have to pay goods and service tax. It's 5% now. It used to be 12% for the harmonized sales tax, so I'm kind of happy about that. We don't have to send the government as much as we did, but of course the meter doesn't turn as much as it used to, so we end up about the same. There's no gain, no loss. And of course the owners of the cabs had to roll back on us because they're not collecting for the government as much anymore, so they had to bring the lease down a tiny little bit, which worked out okay. So that's what happened this week. Now, Cindy's sister came to visit, so she was there every day when I'd come home. She'd usually be up already. And while Cindy's sister was here, well, last week we went out for dinner, and I drove Cindy's van for the first time in a while. And the oil pressure gauge was way up, out of the zone. You know, it was off the scale. And the last time that happened was when we were driving through Oklahoma on our way back from South Tube, was it 5? Yeah, South Tube 5 in Nashville. And we were motoring through Oklahoma, and the gauge was going like this. And when I stopped the next time, checked the oil, and it was down a quart, so I put a quart in, and it was happy again. The pressure gauge was all right. And I said, well, Sin, I think you're down a quart. You're going to need some oil. And she says, well, I'll take it for an oil change anyway. So she took it for an oil change. And the next day after the oil change, she got back to me and she showed me what the guy from the oil change place had, what remarks he had put on the bill, and it said, you know, oil change and possible oil in radiator. So I checked it, and sure enough, the coolant level was down somewhat, and there was oil in it. That means that it's a head gasket. It's a 21-year-old minivan with almost 200,000 miles on it, and it's looking rough. It's not worth shit. And it's worth even less with oil in the coolant. So, what to do? Drive it till it don't go no more. I don't think we'll be able to take it on our trip this summer. We'll have to get another vehicle or use my old Chrysler and go camping in that. Anyway, these are the concerns right now. Over the next couple of months, we got to do something about vehicles. I don't want to rent a vehicle for 2 weeks. That's prohibitively expensive. I was thinking Westphalia, but you know what they want to rent a Westphalia for 2 weeks? 1 week's $800. $1,600. That's about what my budget is for the entire trip. What are we going to get gas with, and what are we going to eat with, and what are we going to get drinks with, and pay for campgrounds and stuff. So that is out of the question. I just got my income tax refund, but because business has been so crappy so far this year, I haven't paid any income tax yet, so I'm sending the refund right back to them. Right back to the government, because the amount I got back is enough to pay the taxes for another year. Enough to pay half the taxes for another year. So I should be sending them all that money I just got back. Because it would be a real bitch to have to scramble for it later on. Anyways, this evening, Cindy's sister Debbie is going back home to Alberta. It was nice having her over. It was a nice change of scene. And so we'll see her again in a couple months anyway when we do our road trip. So I think it's going to be real slow tonight because the students are gone. The reason why last Monday was good was because it was the last day of exams, and all the kids who finished writing their exams went downtown to party, so we had some good business there. And the guy who drove Saturday night, who was the owner of the cab, said he had a piss poor, abysmal, terrible, holy crap night, and he told me how little he made, and I told him that I had done badly on Friday, but I don't feel so terrible anymore. But he had a puker, so he had to clean out the car even, so it was just crappy. So the only reason he made any money was because the wife of the guy who puked in the car felt sorry for him and gave him $250 cash. Apparently it got to the point where he had to push the panic button and the police had to show up to sustain the guy who had done the puking. Anyway, I think I've gone on long enough. Hope yours is better than mine. Even though we're having a nice day and I got a really good book to read. Oh yes, To Kill a Mockingbird. A classic that I've never picked up yet in my life. But I'm reading it now. Because I bought it 3 years ago on a trip to Florida. And I haven't read it yet. I've got my pile of books to read is still 3 years long. Yeah, good night.